Thank you for joining us this week of the Ethereal Podcast. This is episode 21, all about dimensional theories. I'm Sage.
And I'm Dom.
And this week, like I said, we're talking about dimensional theories. Let me try to figure out how to explain that, I guess. It goes off of, if you've watched another episode, I talked a little bit about dimensions, trying to explain, how we are in a three-dimensional world, but we live in a four-dimensional plane because the fourth dimension is time.
Right.
We are 3D, as we know. So there's a lot of concepts about how if all time is happening at the exact same moment, then the entire 3D space is happening at the exact same time. So it's always the third dimension is happening at that time, which then brings in, if you subscribe to that belief, then it's what goes into the concepts of the different dimensional theories of what can be going on in these other dimensions and how they can be influencing or infecting or even we're viewing in this realm of sorts.
Right.
Like ghosts, paranormal things is some stuff. People who, have passed, and say they've either seen or saw or, the different stories and just the concepts of, or heard different things.
Because I've had that happen a couple of times to me personally.
Really? Like hearing specifically?
Yeah.
Why'd you look at me like that?
Like what?
You're like,
I have no idea. I have no idea. But my friend Josh that passed away in high school, I guess I was just having a tough time. It was last Halloween, and I was just meditating one day, and I heard this motherfucker's voice in my head, and I was like, hold up, no, like what? Like you can tell it's not your inner voice. You can I don't know if any of you guys relate to this. Obviously you do, but you can tell that it's not your normal inner dialogue that you normally hear.
Would you compare it to maybe if you had an earbud in your ear and there was just a low voice of someone talking? I guess kind of not exactly the same, but kind of comparable if you don't.
Basically.
Yeah, it's
you
hear it and it's outside, but it's not outside far. It's right there.
Yeah, you hear the thoughts of it. So I heard him and I was like, what? And I obviously started crying, kind of just got some healing from him, because he was like, look, so me, him, and Marshall were all best friends growing up from a young age, from age 8 to 17. We were all the three amigos, and he was like, my theory is that he was gay too. Marshall also thinks this. So we're all gay growing up in very Catholic, Christian households, not accepting of that at all. Marshall and Josh were in love with each other. And he kind of told me, he was like, one of us was gonna off themselves. So if it wasn't me, it could have been you or Marshall. And he was like, one of us had to come guide from up here, basically, is what he said. And I told Marshall this, and he's heard Josh and seen Josh on trips and stuff, and has had many interactions with him as well. And we've both had very lucid dreams of him right after he died.
Really?
He came to both of us and hugged, apologized, gave us the peace that we needed at the time. So he told me that, and he was like, but I swear, I'm always with you. I am one of your guides. So he is one of my spirit guides. So he told me that. So that's cool. So, we talk about the dimensions later.
Yeah, that's right.
He also had a message for me to give to his sister. And I was like, okay, I love Jamie. I have a good relationship with her, and I reached out to her. But he said something, and it was tell her I love the songs that she's been singing for me. And I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. So I kind of fought him on it for a couple of days, but I kept hearing him for and he was like, just tell her. It'll make sense to her. And I was like, I had never experienced this before. So I was truly weirded out. And I was like, I don't want to come to this girl and be like, yo, I heard your dead brother.
Yeah, the Long Island medium. No offense, Love the Queen, but you didn't want to be that person. Especially, I feel with the trauma of religion and the way that they depict messages like that. Definitely. I feel
and
adds,
she's still
and you're
heavily in the church. Both her and her mom, they're Christian, not Catholic, and she like sings and stuff. She's got such a beautiful voice. Anyways, I had dinner with them, but I think I told her this over text, and I was like, look, like Josh had a message for you. He wanted to tell you that, he loves you. He's sorry. He misses you. He's sorry for the way that he left, and he loves the songs that you've been singing for him. And dude, she was like, lately I've been singing songs that he used to sing that I, really love, that really remind me of him. And like, dude, when she told me that, I started bawling.
You were like, oh shit,
like, wow. I was like, so it really was Josh.
Yeah, I was like, I can definitely understand, like, if it's your first experience or just any experience, because you're taught to second guess stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And so you're like,
and I told my mom about it, and even by the end of it, because at first she was like, stop, because I believe that could be Satan. And I was like, but by the end of it, she was crying. She was like, that's really sweet. She was like, that's really beautiful. And I was like, gee.
Well, I will say, but don't like at least in like the church that I was raised in, they misinterpreted that as like the prophet hearing from God directly. So it was like prophetic dreams. And that's why I had a hard time telling people that kind of stuff, because I was like, not prophets. My dad always said that, and I hated that shit. But they do they not have that?
Too.
Yeah, well, in hindsight,
I don't think people...
They don't have that in the Catholic religion, like
there's prophets from back in the day,
but they don't have like current day. That's so interesting.
Maybe no,
like people who are like, oh,
like have visions and
stuff.
Like
they have these prophetic dreams. It's always prophetic dreams in the Christian space, like, because it's an easy way to like navigate it. Maybe. But because that's why my dad like said that. But in hindsight, I think that they're using that term, and I have trauma with the term prophet, because I don't know the definition exactly, so I don't even know if the actual definition triggers me, but the word does, because of that, like in the church and specifically. But I do believe that me and Brittany do like, tap into something when we're sleeping, like a higher like realm, and sometimes. So I do think that he was actually right with the wrong terms.
That's fair. And no, she does have a lot of like repetitive dreams and goes to these realms and places. And,
like when she talks about it, I'm like,
and a lot of the
she has like a place where she right, and I'm like, me too.
I just know it's titty. But a lot of the times she's like this literal leader guiding people through the freaking apocalypse.
Yeah, it's always like, she's always had apocalypse dreams. So the same. Yeah. What's with that? Sam always has apocalypse dreams.
You gotta let me know when you figure that out with the dream book, because
yeah, I'm gonna go with her and read, and try to learn more.
Like, we have a lot in common, they have a lot in common, the shadow, the light.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
But obviously both of us have the shadow and light. All four of us have the shadow.
No, it's like it's like everyone has the shadow and light, but some people have a better a better advantage with one. Like, just because
some people's tools are more so in one than
like they were trained in one. It's like how you can finish the game. There's a lot of games. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of games where you can kind of choose. Like, let's say if it's a magic realm, there's like white magic or black magic they'll have in games. But it's the same realm, and you're still completing the things. It's just different powers and different tools. Right. So it's really the same concept.
And so I think it's like yin and yang in terms of the love and the couple.
Yeah, it's like it's funny. She follows me too.
That is funny. So that was with Josh. Recently I had one more experience though, and I was with driving. Who? Okay, so my good friend Karina and her father passed away tragically in a motorcycle accident. I think about like a year and a half ago, and I was driving through downtown Covington where it happened. And all of a sudden I heard this man's voice, and he has a distinctive voice. I can hear it now when I think about it. I love him. I miss him so much. He would come over to my house, and like, he worked in like a psych hospital and was a nurse or whatever. And he would come over, he would take huge dabs with us. Him and Karina would be, coming over, and we would smoke. And he even got on Brittany's aerial hoop one time and was like playing. And like, this man was like in his 50s probably. And he did like all kinds of Wim Hof breath work exercises. He could take the biggest dab in one hit that I've ever seen, man. He could have been like the dabbing granny on Instagram. Like, He could have been the dabbing grandpa, honey. Like, yeah.
Is it just a grandma that takes dabs?
You've never seen her? Yes. Someone told me recently that she's really racist, so like I don't know if I like her anymore. I think I unfollowed her when I saw her recent post. However, I used to love her and love watching videos of her ripping dabs. But there's this other girl, Miss Jack, who I like. She's way more sweet. She don't have as many followers, but she rips dabs.
Well,
and she's older.
Icon, we're repping you now.
Yeah, Miss Jack one or whatever. Anyways, I don't remember her. It's Miss Jack something. Look her up.
Sure, they'll find her.
Anywho, we're driving through downtown Covington. God, such a.
Oh yeah, what did you hear?
And he was like, "You gotta tell Karina something for me. You know, let her know that like I'm still here. I'm always with her. My energy's just in a different form, whatever. But like I'm always watching over her. You know, I love her. I miss her." And I messaged her and I was like, "Hey, you know, I caught up with her and I was like, do you mind if I tell you something that I kind of heard from your dad and like a message? He wanted me to give you a message." And she was like, "Yeah, no, definitely." And so I relayed the message and she was like, "Wow, like I needed that like right now because I had been really wondering and like doubting if he really was still here with me and like watching whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, you know, his energy just might be in a different form, but he is still here." And so, and that allowed us to reconnect. So that was really beautiful. So those were my two experiences with like the mediumship. So with people passing and like they're definitely. What was your theory about like it being their higher self?
Oh, so I have a theory that your higher self as an energy lives in a higher dimensional realm. So time doesn't exist there, death doesn't exist there. See what I'm saying? So the concept I believe is that when you're having these things where you see or hear or feel or whatever it is, sometimes people even like taste something, you know, that someone had baked, whatever it is that you get. I believe that it's that your higher self in that realm touching, coming back to give you a little like hit of something to let you know they're still there.
Yeah.
Because to them, time isn't happening. Your higher self, it's just, this is what we're doing. It's nothing that they're thinking of deeper than that. So that's my belief, at least. So that's why I believe, you know, that those are why they're like, because a lot of people, I guess, get caught up whenever you say like, oh, they're always here. So people think, well, that would suck. So, I mean, they're just roaming this, you know, earth forever after and da da da. I'm like, no, I think that this earth is only in the third dimension. So if you exist beyond the third dimension, then why after death in the 3D would you exist in the 3D any longer? You only touch down if you want, because you're a higher dimensional, you can. Because if you're higher dimensional, you can go lower. You just can't do the other unless you built, you know, like a stepping
school.
I
think it probably takes a lot of energy too.
For sure.
Drop yourself down to. I've heard that in a TikTok where it was like a message relayed through someone where it's like, hey, like, you know, I touch down when I can, but it does take a lot of work and energy for me to drag myself down.
Right. I can imagine because in my theories, you know, if your higher self like dimension is the highest dimension in because my concept is that like the base zero dimension is that one source energy. And that's the knowingness that all this is like within you, and this is all you, da da da. So my belief is that the highest dimension is that bit that never ends, because if you connect the two extremes, they still read coherently as a cycle. And to me, that indicates pattern-wise that it's cycling itself.
Right.
So if you're at this like higher dimensional, the thing of how dense the third dimension is compared to the I think it's called I'll look it up in a second, but the theory about how many dimensions there are, I'm pretty sure I believe there's 12. So if there's 12 dimensions, like you're on the 12th cube kind of. Yeah. So like if you're at the 12th dimension, and that's where, let's say that is where. Not that big much. Yeah, so let's say that is where the soul, you know, like lies, the energy, the higher self, whatever, that is where you would lie. Going from 12 to 4 or 3, that's really a big jump. Yeah. And so it's like, I can imagine how heavy that feels. Even if you wake up,
go on a vacation.
Yeah, it's like if you wake up and you feel happy and then you start feeling really sad, you can feel your body feels heavier. So imagine if you are something that has no weight at all. Right. Anything, a gram feels heavy if you feel nothing, if you're empty, like if you're nothingness in weight.
Right.
So it's like, I can imagine how, heavy and dense it is to live here.
I didn't think about it in that perspective.
Yeah, it's like it's very, very heavy here.
Until you said it like that. Wow.
Yeah.
She said a gram is heavy if you're weightless. Oh, put that in a rap song. Yeah. Delete. Oh, delete.
Absolutely awful.
Don't clown me like that. That was hilarious.
I don't have any experiences with hearing something like that in that way. My experience is really like that I have like, I guess, more tangible. Is one that was vision, and then one was just Ouija board experiences that were really metaphysical. It was very weird.
I've never done a Ouija board. I'm kind of a little scared. I think there's a presence in this house though, and it might be my grandpa.
Well, like it's possible because I'll say, okay, so it's not just me. I've now had me, Sam, and Michael, and they said it first. I didn't say it to them because I didn't want to put it in their heads.
Right.
They've all seen, because I refused, because if they all say it first and I go, I already saw it, this is what it means, we're all patterned up. It's not a pattern. It's not ironic. We're all seeing the same thing. Because I kept seeing this white figure on the property. And I've been seeing it for years. Every now and again. I think
your mom's seen it too.
Yes. Okay. They all started being like, I've seen it. No, I believe that it's my Grandpa Joe, because he built that house. And then, he died in a very abrupt way. And I think that he comes and like visits to make sure the property's okay. We have a lot of the family on that property, if you think about it. So I could see like why he would come. And all of us have seen it different times. And so I have seen, it's very much like a white figure. And I like all the time, like I've seen him in the house, in like my house. I've seen him in the closet area. Sam's seen him in the closet area. I've seen him, me and Sam have seen him coming from the woods to that back part of the house where the storage was, where I live. Mike's seen them.
That's wild.
Yeah, my mom's seen them.
They don't present themselves to me because I'm scared of them.
Maybe because the first time I saw it, because if I would have seen it for the very first time in a different state, I would have pissed my pants. But the first time I saw it, I was on shrooms. Oh. Okay. And peace hit me when I saw the figure, and I was like, "Oh, that's just my grandpa." Like, and it felt very comforting. And I was just like, oh, that's like really crazy. And I was like, I always talked about. Met him. No, and I always talk about an energy. I used to talk to him as a kid. I would talk to his picture whenever I got sad and I didn't want to talk to anybody else. I would talk to his picture. And
sitting in the room with you.
So I used to always like feel better. I talked to him. So I always feel like that's why he like would check on me in the house sometimes. Like he would check to like come and check me, because I used to always talk to him when I felt sad. So if I'm really stressed out, like I'll see. And I always sometimes like I refer to him as a trickster, because I feel like to joke and like be little jokes, he'll move stuff around in the house. And so I always say he's just like playing a joke, like he's just being a little trickster. So I've seen him. Most of the people have seen the like white figure, and I'm like, I'm telling you. But I think that's why, because I was in that state where my first instinct wasn't fear, it was love, because I was on shrooms.
Right.
So I couldn't get scared first.
Recently, I've been like, all right, look, if there's someone in this house that is, if you good, you got good intentions, you're welcome to stay, you can chill, you can vibe. And I think like that maybe I'd be open to seeing it, but I'm also living like alone here right now, so I'd probably I don't know. I don't think I'd pee my pants, but I'd be like,
I mean, that's fair.
I'd have to remind myself to breathe, but then I'd be like, look, I asked for this.
That's fair.
I'm ready for this.
It is pretty interesting. That's the only. I would like to see like something like more than just like it. Really, when I say a white figure, I don't want it to sound ghost-like. That's not what it is. I see like basically the energy light that would be his form. It's not like that's what I picture. Yeah, it's an energy light. It's like I see like where his body would be in like light.
It's like I keep picturing that on the property. I don't think I've seen it before, but for some reason I can just clearly see
it. Because like it's very possible that your third eye's seen it, but your fear has kept your real eyes from seeing it.
I'm so tired of living in fear. I've been so that's one of the things that I'm
working on.
Affirmations. Like I'm just like, I am no longer living.
Yes, I'm like, it's just fucking stupid. I hate it.
I haven't been living.
No.
Ew. Good things happen. And like I've been listening to that Spiritual Vibes playlist every day. Every day, girl.
I listen to it every single
Fire.
day. I added a few songs the other day. Yeah, I try to add like music every time I hear something like new that I'm like, this
Spiritual Vibes by Saige on Spotify.
It's like, we'll link it in the bio in case someone wants it. It's like 2 hours right now, I think. But
yeah, can I add songs to it, or can I recommend?
Yeah, I was like, you can tell me songs I can add it. I don't know if they'll let you, because I think the only option is to let everyone add songs or only me. And I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, someone add some like lo-fi.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if because I thought about letting it be open or letting like Spotify give me random like suggestions, and I was like, actually, no.
Actually, let me.
I was like, I'll get them. I was like, that's not gonna happen.
There's a couple that I recommend that we add on there that are like a couple of them don't have even words.
Well, I was gonna say it doesn't have to be, because I have the very first song on it doesn't have any words. Don't make me say that word.
Red or something.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was like, it doesn't have any. The way that popped in there. I guess the last thing I'll say about the dead people, I almost forgot before we go on to about talking about like the concept of the dimensions and higher self, which we kind of already talked about higher self, but so you've never, I'm shocked you never played with a Ouija board.
That was the
in your
devil.
Yes, but
growing up, that was
why
terrified.
that was okay.
I thought that I could legitimately get possessed.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so
and I'm pretty sure you still can.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't suggest anyone ill-informed mess with it. I feel like anything.
I feel I am ill-informed.
I feel like anything, it's just a tool. However, the way it's presented, I do not think is being used correctly. I know there are people within Wiccan religion and other religions that do use it as a tool, and they use it for like a tool in a good way. But it's the education behind it that most people do not have. And that's, I was in middle school when we played around with one. Okay, so
how did that go?
The first time, none of us believed it. And so then we started asking questions. So we were like, none of us know these answers, blah, blah, blah. So first we did like a stupid one, like Miranda went across the street and like took a shower and changed. And then whenever she came back, we decided to ask like what Miranda's like underwear color was, because none of us but Miranda knew, and Miranda wasn't touching the board yet. And it got it right. We were like, someone must have seen. And then we just kept playing around. And then at one point I had a friend, which I won't say her name because she is still in the Cultaroonie, and honestly she'd probably fire my ass for talking about that the Ouija board. But
I already know
we had asked what their father's name was, because they always knew their mom's name, but they were raised by a little bit their mom, but mostly their father, who was actually like a stepfather. And so she never knew her dad's like actual name. And so we asked the name. It gave us a name. The next day she called her mom, and she said, and her mom said hello. The first thing out of her mouth was, what is my dad's name? And she said the name. And her mom's first response was, who told you? We almost pissed our pants. We were like, no fucking way. Like goosebumps went across our bodies. We were like, no way. We were like in 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. We were like, what the fuck? So at that point, we realized, I got an eerie
feeling when you started telling the story.
Well, at that point, we realized, oh, this is like, maybe we should be really careful with this. Like, because that's kind of scary, like, because after she found out she did then have to process who her father was, the stuff about him, like learn about him, figure out who does she finally know his name. Like, it was a lot to process. So we didn't think about all that. Well, then we had a sleepover at my house, and cousin Kaylin was there. She will vouch that she did not want to touch this thing, and she didn't. She stayed on the bed in the corner of the room, scared, saying, y'all stop, the devil's gonna get here, y'all stop. I had a friend that was playing with it that didn't believe in it, and like, so she was like cursing at it and trying to get it to like do shit and trying to like provoke it. And so me and the friend I had talked before was with it, and we were like, hey, stop talking about like this. We've seen that, there's not to play with this thing. Well, she just like kept on, and then it started giving us like eerie answers when we would ask about them, where it was like,
it was Zozo.
It was very creepy. Like, first, what claimed it was like a kid, and we were like, you're not a kid, like, tell. And then we like, it started getting really like eerie. Like, it felt very much like very like dark energy.
See, honestly, it still scares the shit out of me hearing you even talk about this.
Oh, it should. Honestly, I'm not recommending people like just go willy-nilly with it. Like I'm saying, unless you have proper education on how to use it, like in your benefit,
that's terrifying.
I just feel like, we also just didn't know what the fuck we were doing. So like realistically, it probably should be used in a ritual setting with like protection methods and stuff. And like we didn't know shit. We were middle school. You are
supposed to use protection.
And so we really didn't know a lot. All we knew was a candle.
You do it inside of the fucking circle of salt so nobody can escape.
All we knew was white candle. So we had a white candle, and I'll never forget that this girl kept taunting it, and the candle blew out. And we were like, "Did you blow it out? Stop!" Like, da da da. We light it again. She taunts it again. She's like, "Do it again. If it's you, do it again." Candle goes out. At that point, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should lock this up. This is in my room. I said, maybe we should stop this. And this girl was like, no, let's see what all it could do. I don't believe it. One of y'all could have blew it out. Tell me how. Okay, I live in a trailer at this point. Okay, this is like the trailer where like whenever that we were in New Memory. So I'm in this room. And she says, prove to me that you're here in a way that we cannot argue. I can't argue it. The candle goes out. The little thing like goes, and the fire alarm goes off in my room. None of the other rooms and no one in the house heard it. It went off twice. None of the other ones. Every time a fire alarm goes off, all the other ones start going, man, man. None of them. My dad didn't hear. Brittany didn't hear. The boys didn't hear. It was just us girls sitting there going,
dark energy.
I looked at her, I said, if you open your mouth again, you are walking home. And she looked at punch it to her. And I was like, you will walk your ass home. So that's my experience with the Ouija board. Yeah, I didn't believe in it. That's why we like fucked around with it at first. And then I believed it, but I wasn't scared because I was just getting knowledge out of it at first. It was once the taunting started and I saw like the what could happen if you don't have everything.
Bro, if they have power in the physical realm.
Bro, I didn't like it.
No, I don't like it.
No, that fire alarm to this day haunts me. Like you don't.
You get triggered when you hear fire alarms.
Yes, because and it makes me every time I hear one go off and another one goes off, it sets me off. I'm like, see, they all go off together. When one goes off, they trigger each other. You see how loud it is? You hear it across the house because it makes me just livid that no one heard it. I'm like, there's no way.
Because it was a demon.
It was so spooky. I said, Kayla was over there crying in the corner. She said, please stop. Please stop playing with. Love you, Kaylin. She ain't never gonna watch it. She was like, please stop. Please. She was praying.
No, I had a rosary in my hand.
She was sitting there literally praying out loud to God.
Oh my
I ain't gonna lie. Like, yeah, it was freaking me out at the end. So I was spooked too. And I'm not gonna lie. I
bind and reject this in the name of Jesus.
I've said this a couple times, people, but like, not talk about a lot, but I really do think that room got haunted after that because after that, okay, Brittany's room was nicknamed Mexico and mine was nicknamed Antarctica because my room was always so fucking cold. Okay, I lived in there, became so depressed. Right, Austin moved into that room. Within a couple months, decided he didn't want to live in that room anymore, and he switched to Brittany's old room. I still think it's because something was in that room. Then that time I did acid, and it was over that same area. I felt that the energy was different, like in that spot. It was the same spot, but the energy was different, so it was a different home. And I just started crying, like of relief. I'm telling you, something spooky happened that day, y'all.
I hate you. You stupid for doing that.
Yeah, we was dumb as fuck.
See, I'm glad I never joined none of my friends in doing Ouija boards. I was invited several times. I was
just such a little curious being, and I was
curiosity killed the cat. It did.
The cat got 9 lives. It's all right. Curiosity did kill the cat, but what's life without curiosities?
I agree. However,
no one can get a demon in your house. Yeah, I said I would never.
I'm not trying to leave this earth by being curious.
That's fair. I guess it depends on the curiosity I'm chasing. If I'd be okay with it, honestly.
I'm not trying to traumatize my friends.
Well, me either. But just because it's curiosity doesn't mean you gotta traumatize your other people.
Because, like, think about it. If you're dying doing something out of curiosity, it's probably something crazy.
But you don't have normal curiosities. Like, what if you were like, you know what? I'm curious what it's like to skydive. That's a curiosity that could get you killed.
You know what curiosity I'll never have?
What?
Let's throw a ladder down this dark hole and climb down and discover things inside of a cave.
Oh, those cave people. When it's like this tall and they're like barely skeeting on to get all scraped up.
Not even, bro. It was like a hole as big as this room. And this man threw like a rope and wooden stick ladder made way back when in
I saw too many movies.
Caverns, and it's like 140 feet down in the dark with these tiny little lanterns that you can only see the ladder. I'd never.
You know what? That's like the new. That's like the new map makers of this realm, this time, because we don't have people go, traveling the world trying to like figure out their map. We already know that. So now that's their job now is they just go down. They're like, let's figure this out under here. Terrifying. What if one finds like a city? I hope they do.
They have.
Well, if say
recently
some have
they
like
found a city somewhere. I don't remember, but I do remember reading about it.
I love when they find old cities.
Yeah.
And I love whenever they can like approximately date them and you're like way older than you think. Lose your noggin.
What's our next topic?
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
Oh, well, you were talking about
my thought train.
My thought train's been there, period, but I live that way. I know you said you wanted to talk about like the veil thinning. Obviously, like it's not Halloween yet, but we can pretend. Like obviously everyone knows like they talk about it like for Halloween. I know you said you want to talk about it. I don't know if there's anything
that
specific.
Happened with Josh.
And that was what I was about to say
2 days before Halloween or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say, because that is like a known thing. Obviously, like people always talk about the veil's thin with Halloween. As it gets closer to Halloween on Halloween night, it's super like
and it's thin during other times.
Well, I was about to say
as well. Think with maybe the moon.
It's with multiple. There's a lot of different things. Yeah, like there's honestly a lot of different things because even like if you think about it, there's a spectrum. So it's like the like witching hours like 3 to 5 a.m. And so it's like the veil's apparently thinner between 3 to 5 a.m. every day.
Oh.
And so it's like that's why like there's people who do like rituals, different like deep like meditations at that time. Because it's like really like the things where a lot of people have like ghost encounters around that time, paranormal activity around those times because they say like the veil's thin.
Wow.
But yeah, I was like, I think that we were talking earlier about ghosts versus like the dead because like I said, I think that the dead can present as a ghost, but I don't consider a ghost the dead. My personal theory is that like the dead can present as a ghostly form if it's something that would comfort you. I feel like they could do that. But I think that my personal theory is that if time doesn't exist, what if the ghost that you're seeing is someone who is just living in their time and the veil gets thin or the thing glitches or whatever terminology you want to use, and so you're seeing them in their time because you always see them doing things of their time period. A lot of time they don't talk to you, it's like they don't see you. So I'm like, well, what if that's what it is? But I also argue, what if that's been happening forever and the opposite is true, and why people of old back in the day would depict people of these super futuristic ways was because they were seeing ghosts, which was of us in the future. Ooh. That's my theory.
I think that you've told me
like very much my theory,
but that
because I
boggles my mind.
It's a mind-boggling concept. Because I was just like, okay, like did cavemen see ghosts of what? So what if you could see ghosts of any time period? It's just when the veil is thin.
These like depictions of aliens and like drawings of them and stuff like that. Like
there's so many great things about aliens.
Like Yale even confirmed that like in like a movie or some shit there was a pretty accurate description of what their beings looked like on the ship.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think of, did they say which movie or I don't remember.
But
no, I 100% agree with that theory.
That's a cool theory.
I subscribe.
Wild. Yeah, check mark. Guys, if you don't subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe.
Give us a like, a comment, a share.
Maybe even. Doing our giveaway very soon. We're gonna go ahead and make the little promo video for that and get that out to you guys.
Yes, it'd be very cool. Win fun things, great things. I want to say big prizes a jersey, but there's some other things too, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, we're giving away several things, and there will be a first and a second place prize.
Yeah, you have double the chances.
Yes.
Double pleasure, double fun. What song is that?
I have no idea.
Oh, I think that's Chris Brown. Oh, forever. That's why I made a face when I realized it was Chris Brown. But early Chris Brown was good, like young Chris Brown.
Good, but still fucking.
Well, yeah, fuck him.
Abusive.
Piece of shit. But it was a good era. It's stuck in my head. My brain says it's Chris Brown, but it could have been Usher too, honestly. Not similar, but
next episode will be 22, but I can't wait until we get to 222. Or at least 111. That'll be a lot sooner.
I was gonna say, bitch. She said, me so excited for 222. We're almost at 22 right now. I mean, same. One day we will be there.
You know, we will.
And we'll, because it adds up fast. Oh, wait, I forgot. My soul almost left my body. I was like, there was no one in the house. You gotta understand, we were just talking about ghosts and shit.
Oh, fucking Christ. All right, guys. On that note, thanks for joining us again on the Ethereal Podcast. Infinite amounts of love and gratitude. Thanks for all your support. We'll see you on the next episode.
Yes, I hope this one was entertaining. If you have any other dimensional theories about any of these topics we've talked about,
please leave us comments.
Yes,
we want to hear your opinions, your comments, thoughts, messages, your
whatever.
Yes,
we love to hear it.
DM us, comment, whatever.
I love hearing new theories, and if you have a really good one, we'll even talk about it, and we'll bring it up and give you reference because I think it's awesome.
Yep.
Yup.
All right, guys. Later.
Peace.